This is the latest DLC from Reiza Studios for Automobilista 2. Amongst the improvements to the physics, AI and other miscellaneous goodies, the main feature here is nostalgia. Now, you would be mistaken to think it's an FIA GTR2 remaster, but that wouldn't do what Reiza have done any justice. So let's find out what this is all about. Well, here we are then on Automobilista 2. Now, I'm going to have to be honest, I haven't really played this game, and I'm a little disappointed in myself for not having played it sooner, as we send it down the inside of the MC12 to get a position early on. Yeah, so far this game has been absolutely fantastic, and I've had so much fun playing this brand new DLC, which I'm sure you've heard of, but if you haven't, this is the new update 1.6.8.5, which also includes a historical endurance pack, part 1, which to me hopefully indicates that there are many other parts to come, but so far it mainly features the 2005 year for endurance racing. So you've got your LMP1 as we go for a very ambitious move on our Aston Martin. It's not really a teammate, but counterpart, and we make the move. Next up is the Lamborghini as part of the new, or the previously new Lamborghini pack. But in the LMP1 class, you've got the Audi R8, you've got the Carrara C60, and the Dallara SP1. And then in the LMP2 class, as we're going to send it down the inside of the old bus stop, the proper bus stop chicane. I wonder how many times it's going to catch me out, me thinking I need to do a right-left rather than a left-right. So far, we've got it right so far. Let me see if we can get down the inside. Oh, everyone's checked up, but we're going to make a slight contact with the Maserati, as the Dodge Viper was very kind to us and let us through. Yes, the LMP2 class, you got the Lola, where one's a V8 and then one's a V8 Turbo. And then what we're racing in, which is the GT1 class. So you have the Aston Martin DBR9 GT1 as we go for a run on the Maserati. We'll see if we can get him around the outside into the chicane. We're gonna make it stick. And there we go, up we go. So yes, obviously we're in the Aston Martin DBR1 GT1. You've got the Corvette C5R. You've got the Maserati MC12. And depending where you're from, either the Dodge / Chrysler Viper GTS R, the absolute monster. And then you've got the GT2 class, which is a Porsche 996 RSR. GTR class, which is the BMW M3 GTR, which is actually from 2004, and then the free content you get is a Milano GT36 GT2, which of course is actually an unlicensed Ferrari. So you get quite a few cars in the DLC pack, and then also you get the historical track pack part 3, which includes circuits from 2005, which would be Le Mans, Road Atlanta, and what we're racing on, which is Spa. So we are effectively recreating the 24 Hours of Spa from 2005. And yeah, my first initial thoughts about this is how refreshing it's been to be able to go into a game and set up a race and then to be able to race it. I mean, it sounds weird, but coming from a background of an incredibly heavily modified version of Assetto Corsa and getting some old games to work on modern systems, it always requires a lot of tinkering and finessing. Whereas to be able to just load a game up on Steam, click Automobilista 2, And all I've really had to set up is what car I want, what track I want, how long the race is, whether I want a rolling start or not. I've set the eye to 106% under the medium aggression, which seems to be the sweet spot for me. And then the time multiplier to try and get a 24-hour cycle in 30 minutes for a race. Oh, as the Viper spins in front of us, and that'll be 2 places there. And you can also set how many mistakes the eye make, which I've just put it on normal. And load up the game. Here we are. It's just been so nice just to be able to get into a game that works. I mean, some of you might just, you know, if you actually played the base games of other games rather than me, you know, going far beyond the capabilities of these old games, obviously they're just going to work. But even, you know, the reports you get on AAA title racing games these days that come out, most people argue that they weren't finished and buggy and just not playable, whereas this has been just totally enjoyable from the get-go. This has been absolutely fantastic. I say, 106% AI on medium difficulty for me is just enough where I can probably race at about 80 to 90% of my sort of skill level, like having to think about how to race, to be able to catch up with the car. And then you really have to think about how you overtake, because if you go for a move and it doesn't work, the cars behind will have you, and then you'll lose 1, 2, 3 positions from you making a mistake trying to overtake in front. So it really teaches you to be patient and think about the moves you have to make. Because also what I found is once you've overtaken a car, and if you don't carry on the pace that you had catching them, they will sit behind you, and then you'll be watching your mirrors while you lose time trying to defend from a car you've just overtaken while the cars up ahead disappear. So we go for the double move, and we've made it work. Right, and see, now we need to get a wiggle on, because otherwise they're going to be all over me. And so I've done 3 practice runs of this race, just trying to get out of the Assetto Corsa mindset, and obviously you've always got to relearn each game's physics. For me, this really raises Automobilista's status as a sim racing game. I think the classic content is certainly on the rise, as well as us being in a, I'm going to say it, golden age of endurance racing. I know that phrase gets thrown around a lot, but honestly, with all the hypercars and GT cars and 24 Hours Nürburgring, Spa and Daytona, Sebring, obviously the last couple of years there have been some excellent races, and the amount of manufacturers involved, I really do think we are in a golden age of endurance racing. So to see all these games pop up, you know, for instance, if you try and decide what game you want to play a full WC season in, or IMSA season in, I mean, I wouldn't know where you start. I mean, you've got iRacing, Le Mans Ultimate, obviously, Assetto Corsa, mods, R-Factor, Automobilista, Race Room. They all have access to these hypercars, whether they're officially licensed or modded. You know, it's entirely what game you have. You have access to it. And certainly for me, and there's certainly some other YouTubers out there who specialise in the classic stuff. All this classic content is what we're after, really. And I say there's a couple of new games coming out, and I don't know, you've got Ren Sport and Project Motor Racing, which I think the Project Motor Racing one looks to be focusing more on the classic aspect, which comes out in November. It comes out like in the next couple of weeks. So arguably, could we say we're on the cusp of a golden age of sim racing? I think we certainly could be, or if not there already. I mean, you've got the thing with iRacing taking back control of, well, not taking back control, but I think they're doing the physics for the NASCAR games, because I think the previous NASCAR games have been pretty appalling, as well as the whole fiasco with the British Touring Car game and IndyCar game not coming to anything. But then the Le Mans Ultimate has been a pretty big hit, and that's worked. And so yeah, now we say Automobilista, they have done classic content before. They did the GT1 cars. I think there's a couple of touring cars, isn't there? And then now this, which is very much a big dagger in the nostalgia heart, because this is essentially the FIA GTR2 game. It's the 2004-2005 endurance racing season, with the main feature being the Spa 24 Hour. In these cars, the only car it's missing is the Ferrari F50. Not F50, the 550. But obviously for licensing reasons, it's not there. But I mean, racing now, have I really noticed that it's not been there? No, I haven't. Which hasn't taken away from the immersiveness. I say this is an incredibly polished, well put together, affordable DLC for a game that's also pretty affordable compared to its competitors. And you've got the Aston Martin suddenly right up behind us, as we've not really made any headway on these front runners. We do really need to get a move on. And we've got a Viper off, so that's another place for us. But now I've got this Aston all over the back of me, and I don't really want to be depending, but I lock up as the AI have spooked me. That was an amateur move on myself. But yeah, that's what I say. The AI is in a sweet spot for me, because that was. So I've not made any headway catching the others, so we're pretty much on pace. But suddenly that Aston's come out of nowhere. Whether he's pitted for tyres or something, I don't know. He's off. But yeah, this has been an incredibly fun experience, and really got me back into sim racing. Not that I never really fell out with it. I've just been messing around on a set of Corsa, which requires the setup you'll spend more time on the setup than you will in the race. But that's just because that's just the way I do it with all these mods in it, as we go very deep into the hairpin. And then we've got a Viper behind us now, so we really need to try and pick up the pace here. Hopefully those guys will start fighting, and I'll bring them back into my grasp, so we get a Rouge all wrong. And yet that wasn't a corner cut, so we'll take that. That's definitely a freebie. But yeah, obviously this is only a small fraction of the DLC, and I could spend hours on this. It would be nice to have a couple more tracks to then be able to complete the endurance racing season, as we now retake the position from our Aston Martin, we'll say teammate, and we are now much closer to the Viper and Maserati. I have found that you can get sort of bottleneck behind certain cars. I think the Viper's one of them, because it's so fast on the straight it doesn't really have a threat from the other AI cars trying to overtake it, but in the corners it's much slower, so you then sort of get a train of cars behind it. But it you know, you would do in real life. So I think if you're going to speak of some criticism, I don't really have any, honestly. There's a couple of personal preferences where I say I've just jumped into this and I've done no setup changes just to see what it's like out the box. And I think the setup on these cars, or for the pure car anyway that you race, I think the downforce is slightly set up higher than the others. You do seem to be left behind on the straight, and even with a tow, you just about get by. But the AI seem to sort of get past you much easier with a tow than you can get past them. But again, that's just requires a setup change. You know, slightly less downforce, and that solves it. So that's not a game issue. And again, when I tried some of the 11P cars, I feel like the brake bias is slightly too far back, so you end up locking the rears and spinning. But again, that's just a personal preference and easily changed by changing the brake bias, which is, I think, 9 out of 10 times part of the control settings on the wheel anyway. So as far as what the game sells you, it's pretty, and also it's well finishes. I don't even know where that Aston came from, but I didn't have space on the inside, but I had a Porsche on my left and I was up against the curb. Surely, where did that even what was that? Right, and he's got back past again, and I've still not made any headway. So, and again, most cases of racing, I'd be really frustrated at this point. But I'm not. This is just, it just feels like racing. It's what would happen during a race. You'd get a driver in a car, and then you'd get to a point in the race where you'd be surrounded by other people who are on a similar pace to you, and you just feel like you're not going anywhere. You just sort of, and occasionally you get one guy, you know, gold or platinum driver, fly through the field. I feel like I'm becoming a better driver because I'm having to be patient, although I have sent some moves down the inside of some cars already. But yeah, otherwise, you know, I'm going to make sure my exits are spot on, my braking points are spot on. Going to make sure that any overtaking manoeuvres I do don't compromise me in the next set of corners. As now we're right on this battle once again. We can see if we can get a rouge right and try and get a good run. Oh, we've once again messed it up. And again, not a corner cut, so again, I'll take that. That's alright. Let's see where everyone's going to go. They're going to go to the inside. We're just going to stick on our line and follow the Maserati. Everyone makes it through cleanly. When the Maserati's finally got past the Viper, and the Aston Martin's going to try and chuck it down the inside. It's not quite there. I'd say the AI seems to be better through these sections of corners, and then I'm a little bit faster through these ones. So again, I think it's just down to the downforce settings. I have a lot more downforce. So the middle sector at Spa, as long as you don't go off like that. Yeah, the middle sector of Spa, anyone with high downforce will be a lot quicker than those sectors 3 and 1, because they are pretty much just straight line runs to the next lot of chicanes. We'll try and get a good run over this corner, and say there's no runoffs in 2005. Gravel and grass, as it should be. Right, we've got a good run now. We're just going to play it safe and just maybe chuck it down the inside. Little nudge. Look at the Aston Martin there, he's still there. He's still going to have the inside. I'll tell you where the other two get away as the Aston and I are fighting it out. He's there somewhere. We're just going to go for it. We've made it work. Just hoped he wasn't on the inside. He backed out of it smartly. Right, now let's calm down a little bit. And what I was also thinking of is sort of what other games allow such easy access to be able to just jump in and do a race. You know, we can go quite niche and go, right, if you wanted to do a 2005 GT1 season, where would you go? And the only options are either you get a set of Corsair and you have to get some mods as we go very wide, and the Aston Martin makes its way back through again as we keep making silly mistakes. Now I can see some daylight coming, so we're coming up to the end of the race soon. So whether this will be our finishing position, hopefully we can try and get past just this group of cars at least. I think that would be an achievement in itself. But as I was saying, if you wanted to play a similar season to this, you'd have to go a set of Corsair, and you have to get a couple of mods, and probably have to purchase some of them. And you have to spend a lot of time finessing and trying to get all the BOP correct, because I'm not sure all the GT1 cars are in one mod. I think there'll be several different modders who do them, so you have to try and get them all to match evenly as we go right down the outside. And we're right on the back of this fight once again. We're not going to go for the move from Dry Rouge. I think we're not going to have the run. How about the Camel Straight? Didn't get the best run, but we're going to be in the slipstream anyway. Once again. Yeah, chuck it down the inside, and the Astons back past the Aston again. We're not quite there for the Maserati. That's compromised us on the exit. The Aston Martin's going to be there inside again. Right, he hasn't gone down the inside arse again. Man, this is a great battle. I say it's, you know, I'm not wanting to send in a stupid lunge because it was just going to ruin it. And so the Aston Martin's going to try and bump us. We've got a Lamborghini off there. That's another position. We kept it on the circuit this time. But yes, what I'm saying is the amount of mods you need for in a set of Corsair to be able to recreate this is probably just going to cost just as much. And they're not going to be as polished, and there's going to be several mods from different modders, so they're not going to be exactly the same. And then if you can't get Soul working on the current update, then you need to get the other one, I can't remember what it's called, and it requires a lot of time, and if you haven't got the patience for that, then that's fine. And then the only other way is we get But I say, didn't quite get past the Maserati because he was on the inside, but he's behind us now. We're going to go past the Viper. We've locked up. We're just going to park the bus. And we've done it. We've finally made the move. With, I think, 1 lap to go, 2 laps to go. Now we've just got to keep them behind us. Yes, if you don't want to go the Assetto Corsa route, then the other route would be trying to get the FIA GTR 2 to work on a modern machine, which I can tell you does take a bit of work. Because again, the backwards compatibility on these newer systems, newer operating systems, is becoming harder and harder to the point where some games are just now impossible. So trying to get that to work again requires a lot of finessing, a lot of modding as we completely lock up and have to take to the grass. Although I think Martin Brundle wouldn't be pleased and he'd say that we've lost the place, but I can argue that we haven't. That's just an honest mistake. Nothing to do with that Viper right behind us. Or go down the route that I've done, which is I built a Windows XP machine from 2005, so then I can play these games on the appropriate hardware that you were supposed to play them back in the day, which can be a very expensive route, and again requires a lot of tinkering and finessing and a lot of YouTubing into how do I get this to work, because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. And that requires, yeah, know-how of hardware and software, so yeah, I think Reiza have knocked it out of the park with this one. This has been some of the most fun I've had in a racing sim in a very long time, and I'm looking forward to doing more videos actually. I'd like to, I know everyone's doing them, but I think there's a reason why everyone's doing them, as the Viper's trying to go down the inside and we have to dance with some lap traffic. He's right there. We're going to defend. I think this is the final lap. Just got to make it past the hairpin and on the run down, and that'll be it. But yes, I'd like to do more videos with this. I think to do one recreating the Petite Le Mans in 2005 as well as Le Mans at 2005. So there we have it. We managed to finish. And I say, I think honestly, like I said, I'm incredibly impressed with Automobilista, not having played it before. I think if you're new to sim racing, this is definitely a game to look at buying. You definitely get it on sale and get it at a really, really good price along with this DLC. I think if you look at the GT1 DLC as well, and also any other classic content that they do, keep an eye out for it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.